With Russia's invasion of Ukraine still ongoing, EU leaders are meeting here in Paris to discuss the possibility of more sanctions against Moscow and further measures to boost the bloc's defense and energy independence. To tell us more about this, I'm joined by the Prime Minister of Estonia, a country bordering Russia, Kaja Kallas. So, Prime Minister, let me get straight to the point. You are among some of the leaders strongly advocating greater military presence in your borders. Are you afraid that you may be the next if Putin succeeds in Ukraine?
The correct question would be, is NATO next when Putin succeeds in Ukraine? We are part of NATO, so we have Article 5 in NATO that says attack on one is attack on all, which means that if we are attacked, then it also means that US or France or Germany is attacked. And I think this is a too big bite for even for Russia to take. So we are not afraid, but we are preparing. We have in NATO so far the deterrence posture, but now we have to move to the defense plan, how we really are ready to defend when it's or if it should be necessary.
But is the risk of the conflict in Ukraine spilling over into Europe a reality?
Of course, we are, trying to help Ukraine with all the possible means that we have in order for them to protect and defend their own country. And our goal is to end this war and do everything that this war is stopped and it doesn't go any further. Of course, nobody of us sees to the future what is right or what is wrong decision along the way. But this is what we try to do to end this war in Ukraine and, of course, that it doesn't spill over.
You said already in the European Parliament that the EU has a moral duty to make Ukraine a member state. But why? How would an EU candidacy help Ukraine in the middle of a war?
I said that we need to give Ukraine European perspective. We need to give Ukraine hope. They are literally fighting for Europe. So we should also give them tangible trajectory to, join our European family. And this is what we will debate as well. Of course, it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, there are steps on the way. We have done this, so we know very much from the practice. But I think Europe benefits from more prosperous, more stable, more rule of law-oriented Ukraine.
But not all of your colleagues actually have the same appetite for such an enlargement right now. Shouldn't this be clearly spelled out to the Ukrainians so that they are not given empty promises?
We shouldn't give empty promises, that's for sure, but to re-emphasize and give some tangible, steps on the way to give hope to the Ukrainians. Because hope gives also strength. Therefore, I think it's our moral duty to give that hope. It's the least we can do.
We've seen during this crisis the EU taking unprecedented sanctions against Russia and being very united with allies. But how further measures can EU afford to take? And what is on the table right now?
This is true that Europe has been very united and very quick also in acting and putting together the sanctions. Europe has not been a particularly nimble organization so far. So I think we have surprised Putin, we have surprised the world, but we have also surprised ourselves being so strong and quick on this. Now it's already the fourth package on top of those sanctions that were in place already from 2014. So, of course, we are exploring, additional ways to put more pressure on the war machine of Putin and to take the finances out of this war machine so that he can't continue with this war. The sanctions are hurting, but we also need strategic patience in order for the sanctions to kick in and really have their effect.
But what is the price that the EU citizens have to pay for all this? What would you say to them?
Well, one could say that gas might be expensive, but freedom is priceless. I mean, I'm coming from a country where we didn't have freedom. I mean, I was born in Soviet Union. I know very well what it means. It is said that you understand the value of freedom when it's taken from you. So that's why it's very hard to explain to those countries or those people who haven't experienced this in the first place. But of course it's going to be hard, and we have to be honest with our citizens as well, that the hard times lay ahead. And so far, I think we have been our discussions in the European Union have been focused on, really targeting the war machine of Putin and not hurting the people so much, because we also need the people's support behind the decisions. And if it is for the people something that they can't tolerate, it's also hard to keep the sanctions up.
Prime Minister, did this conflict trigger any tensions inside your country, given that there is a Russian-speaking minority that through years has been complaining that it was not treated equally?
Those complaints have not been, recently so vocal. We have like 300,000 Russian speakers, but they are not a homogeneous group. Majority of them are Estonian citizens and also feel the emotional tie with Estonia. Right now, due to this war, we also have Ukrainian minority. So we see tensions between those groups, and we have to be very tentative that we talk about, Putin's war and Kremlin who is doing this, not Russian speakers, or we can't put the equation mark between Putin and Russian people, and we have to keep this separate.
Prime Minister, thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you.